clap so I can line the audio with the video. It is a hassle if I don't do that. All right, so this is the 7th Heart to Heart podcast. I'm sitting here with Jeb Hedgecock. He's a sculpture BFA here at UNC Asheville, killing it in the studio constantly. This past weekend, I came in like 2 or 3 nights, and Jeb was in the studio killing it every single night. So I was like, dang, I'm slacking. But yeah, man, it's really dope to be able to have this conversation.
Yeah, no, I'm honored that you wanted to have me on.
Yeah, man.
And thanks for the compliments.
This wouldn't be like a complete podcast if I didn't ask to have you on here. So,
thank you.
Here, I'm gonna close the door real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, my roommate Sydney Levitt is in the BFA program, and she'll talk about how it sounds like all the BFA students kind of like come together and like kind of, I don't know, like y'all have meetings or something, and I guess you do like critiques as like a group being a part of the BFA program.
Yeah, we do group critiques, and they're beneficial. I don't know, the way it is for me, there are a few folks in BFA that I like to isolate, because I think that we're able to help each other, and then other people in the program I might not have so much to say to, and they might not have much to say to me, and that's okay. But we're always there to witness one another and give any compliments or criticism that's needed.
Do you think criticism is more valuable in critiques than compliments?
I do, and to back that up, I would say that there have been weeks where I haven't received criticism, and it acts as a detriment. I think that artists want that criticism and kind of need that criticism. So if I don't get it, I'll be put into a rut, and I'm not trying to blame my own artistic ruts on other people, but criticism acts as a catalyst. It's a reason to change, or a reason to improve or do something differently.
Well, on the other side of that, I think some folks would shut down at least a little bit receiving some criticism, because they're like, oh, I worked so hard and nobody likes what I made. Like I've felt that way before, where it's like if I'm just like in the wrong state of mind and I get some criticism, then I'm like, oh man, I guess I got to go completely different direct. I just kind of jump ship.
Yeah.
But I try to work on that. Even being around more people who do criticize things I do, to like make myself a better person, a better artist, a better student, whatever.
Right.
I can definitely see there's a lot to be gained from being like open to that criticism and being able to like move forward with that. Be like, okay, I'm gonna adapt what I did around this person's criticism.
I think that from a personal standpoint, I don't receive as much criticism as I would like, or as I feel that I deserve. I've never been torn down in a critique before. I feel like if people don't agree with what I'm doing, they just don't say anything at all. And so lately, I'm yearning for that criticism. If I got it, I don't know what I would do with it, and I don't even know if I would change what I'm doing. But then it would be nice, because it would affirm that I believe in myself if I didn't change anything at all. Like, I know what track I'm on, and I'm going to continue with this.
Like you got the final destination in mind type of thing.
Maybe not even that. It's just that like this particular project that I'm working on right now, people I've been asked to layer the meaning, understand the base meaning, add to it. Every step needs to be thoughtful and intent. But and I'm conscious of that, and I'm trying to employ that. But at the same time, the only reason I'm doing it is there's an underlying passion that is somewhat unexplainable at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's attractive to people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that mystery is such an important part of art and of individuals too.
Yeah, mystery, like being like what's going on in that artist's mind, like what's their like, what are their motives? There really is a lot of mystery like surrounding artists of all kinds.
Yeah,
I think that like does make it more attractive to the audience. But what would you say that like makes you tick? Like what's kind of like a driving force for you? Like why do you come in to the studio, work hard, play hard? You know, like what would you say? Is there like a reoccurring thing that you might like tell yourself, or you know, life experiences that you've had that have like pointed you in this direction? Would you say it's just you've always, you know, been yourself?
No, I wouldn't say that I'm an artist because okay, that's kind of complicated. Let me phrase this in ways that might sound paradoxical. I wouldn't say that I'm an artist because I know myself or because I am 100% myself, because I haven't figured it out just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the determining factor, and some professor told me this in a critique one time, they said, Jeb, I like seeing you develop because it seems like each time you bring in something new, it's an effort to understand the world, your world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. I'm just, a reoccurring theme is I'm trying to make things that help me understand my values, help me understand what I care about, and then demonstrate what I care about. It's weird to look back. For the first time at all, I had to organize the things I had made at UNCA in a PowerPoint, and I did it chronologically.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fun to see the development and see what you held on to from
Mm-hmm.
a previous artwork and what you left behind. And then it starts to become evident why it really is that we're doing what we're doing, why it is I'm doing what I'm doing. And I can't totally define that yet, but I'm getting closer every time I make something new.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I think I'm in a phase. I'm transitioning. That's partially why I'm so obsessed with the symbol of the snake right now. Because I feel like I'm shedding the old me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not even the old me, but just you accumulate a lot of things. There's another student in BFA who talks about masks, Sean Weinbrenner. So his symbol for that is that everybody wears masks. We all put on faces to describe ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and to hide ourselves, to fit in or to not fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I've put on many of those. And now that I'm soon to leave college, that's not the only reason why I'm shedding, but it contributes to it. I'm wanting to start anew.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not really starting new. It's just getting back to what I was.
Yeah.
I often feel like there's two people inside of me, and I don't think that's a unique feeling. I think some people have described it as the man and wife inside of every person, and unless they're married, this happens in artists, it's got to.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not married, then there's a tempest inside of you. There's a fight all the time.
Hmm.
Another person has talked to me about it as the child inside of you and then the adult inside of you. And those individuals need to be comfortable with one another. that's one thing I'm working on right now, and that's one thing I'm talking about when I say shedding a skin. I'm not getting rid of the things I've accumulated to become an adult, but I'm trying to return to that confidence and purity that you see in a child. I'm older now, so I have some self-control, and I have a notion of how to treat other people that kids might not have. But sometimes the most empathetic folks that you see are kids. And I really admire that.
Man, I like kind of on that note, tell me if you can relate to this. Like whenever I get out of school, like over summer break or anything, there seems like there's this period of where like I'm like go. Like I've always got stuff to do, and then I get on summer break or some type of break, and I'm like, oh, I can relax. I don't have to be on this strict schedule anymore. And so when you said the thing about like kind of like shedding your skin and getting out of school and like this new phase of your life, you know, it's like always this progression. It's like when I think of getting out of school, I think of like having to like relearn how to kind of just like live and enjoy life as it goes, rather than just be like, this is what I have to do now. This is what I have to do now. And then like when I don't have something to do, feel like there's got to be something I got to do. You know, like when I was in middle school time and high school, it's like I remember thinking of like, oh, once I go to college and I get out, it's like I'm free. I get to do whatever I want. And now since then, it's like I've really like adapted to school in such a way that it's like, it's gonna take me some time to kind of find myself. I think once I'm done with school.
Yeah.
Like, for sure.
Is that soon for you?
In May.
Okay.
So this is your last semester.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. What are you doing after school? Do you know?
You know, it's I'll be staying in Asheville at least until my lease runs out. So I'll be here until August of next year. I don't have a lot lined up. Yeah, I don't want to go to grad school immediately afterwards. I know that. I'll continue. I work part-time as an artist assistant to an artist named Ken Katara right now. I've been fortunate enough to work with him off and on throughout my years here, and he's been given an opportunity that I think he'll need help with. It's a pretty big commission, and I'm not gonna disclose any details because it's not final in certain ways. But I'll be working with him on that at least right after school. Then once I'm done with that, it's just a matter of uprooting, honestly. I've been in North Carolina my whole life.
Where are you from?
I'm from Winston-Salem.
Okay.
I'm actually from Walnut Cove, which is a small town outside of Winston-Salem. Okay. So I'm not a city dweller. I'm used to space and solitude and.
Well, yeah, that's really cool. You're trying to move, uproot, and go do something other than kind of the norm. Coming back here is always an option, but like this point in our lives, it's like we gotta take the chance to go do things, and that or we may not have much money to go do those things, but we can just go do them because we don't need that much.
It's not an excuse.
We don't have people really depending on us a whole lot. We don't have families. I got a cat. I don't know about you if you got any animals.
I don't have any pets. I've been wanting a cat though.
Cats are really cool.
Yeah.
I went and got mine from a shelter, and he was 3 years, 8 months old. And so he already like had his personality, and like he's just a really sweet cat. I got really lucky with him.
That's
his
awesome.
name's Tokyo Drift, first and last name.
That's cool.
Would you like a water?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I've been thinking about like just little things I can be doing at home that aren't focusing on, like you said, what I should be doing. And it got me talking about getting a cat. It also got me talking about planting things. And even like right now we still have enough warm weather to plant a few things. Somebody told me to plant a few things from seed, so I'm gonna give it a shot and try to grow a few herbs.
Nice.
Somebody said I ought to be growing catnip, just like kill two birds with one stone. They sent me a meme. Yeah. So, but I don't know if my roommates would be into that. I'm probably gonna do it covertly and just act like I didn't know what happened.
I don't know how it ended up
They
in the
like
ground right there.
oregano, whatever that is.
Man, I think like Sydney, my roommate, and I have a lot of conversations about solitude. You said something about solitude and how it's like we both feel very comfortable in solitude, and we also feel like people can intrude on our space because we like that solitude so much.
Yep.
Or need it really. And I mean, I like now I know myself a lot better than I used to. Now I know I really should, like, people who I make really like close bonds with, like, need to understand that about myself, or it's just not going to be like a healthy friendship.
Yep.
Yeah, I think like just being in solitude is such a great chance to be creative, learn about oneself. There's a lot of really good aspects to it. But I think like in our kind of pop culture, it's all about being extroverted, very social, always knowing the right thing to say. You know, and there's like there's great aspects to that too. And I think ideally there's somewhere in the middle where somebody can be in those extroverted situations and then also be able to come back and spend time on their own and learn about themselves and you know, all that.
Do you ever feel like when you're in a social situation, you want to be introverted, and then when you're in the studio and like have a perfect 5 hours to be introverted, you want to be extroverted?
Oh yeah.
That happens
it's always
so much.
back and forth. I really like being like extroverted with like one or two people though. It's the same thing. So it's like, you know, I could be at a party and stuff, and it's like there's so much talking going on. It's like, you know, all these really short interactions, and I'm just like, get me out of here. And then I'll go be somewhere with like one or two people, and I'm the one being obnoxious and like talking.
I love that. Definitely.
It's more personal being with like, you know, fewer people, because it's like there can be that silence and there can be time to think and like really like have like a deep conversation.
And it's usually the case that if you're with a few people, you might not be with them just to socialize. That throws me. If I ever go to a party or a social situation, it's like, okay, this is my goal. I'm here to be social. I'm here to make friends. And I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm a contrarian, but that sort of expectation disgusts me sometimes. That's not a good word for it. It steers me in the other direction. I've found out that I'm kind of a person who wants what they can't have. No matter what it is. It's just like, okay, now I've got this thing, I want something different that I don't have. I'm working on that. I think there's always an underlying problem. But I've also found that I am often in solitude because I'm trying to figure myself out. And am under the impression at times that it's easier to figure yourself out if you're alone, because, you know, you can take time to explore those kind of weird thoughts that you don't think other people would understand, when in actuality, one of the easier ways to reach self-revelation is by talking to other people. You might just get like a tiny snippet of something that somebody said to you.
Yeah.
Like, man, this is so poetic. I was in Ace Hardware working, And the head of the paint department, her name is Deb Conway. She's a wonderful person, very intensely herself. And many people, lots of people admire her for it, but many people can't handle being around her all the time. She said to me, I gravitated towards her immediately because I sort of like that person who doesn't care what I think about. And so when they don't care what I think about and they're just fiercely individual, I can be the same around them, and there's no worries. She said to me, thorns have roses. She said, remember, thorns have roses. And I was like, oh yeah, roses, every rose has its thorn. And she's like, no, thorns have roses. And I was like, damn, Teb. Yeah, but I've been like searching for empathy, looking for things to value in people that aren't willing to display that immediately.
And that's really powerful.
Super powerful.
And that way too, it's like, you know, you're able to kind of stay in just a good mind state, you know? Like way too often I will come across somebody that maybe we have a disagreement or just a completely different understanding on something, and it's like I put up a wall and I'm like, yeah, and I'm just like, I just don't want to deal, like I'm just not going to deal with this. But in reality, like if I need to spend more time focusing on the positive qualities of what that person is doing and displaying.
Well, somebody gave me a book, and I don't remember, The Anatomy of Peace is what it's called, I believe. And I haven't read it fully yet. I'm actually kind of trashing the copy of the book that they gave me because I just throw it. It's really dirty at this point. I'm just gonna have to buy them a new one. But Anatomy of Peace. It's about how you can have difficult conversations and say things that are critical without being harsh. And the key to that, they say, is addressing someone with a peaceful heart or a heart at war. And once I say that, I'm sure you can think exactly of what I'm talking about. An example being, you can give somebody a compliment if your heart is at war, and they know that you're not being honest, you're not trying to give them a compliment. It might be even worse if you give somebody a compliment when your heart is at war. At the same time, I have my best friends can criticize me coming from a heart at peace, and even if it might be something that's very difficult to hear, I'm not offended by it, or I'm not angry about it, because they're coming at me with a heart at peace.
Yeah.
They're trying to empathize, they're meaning to help me. And at the same time, maybe they don't expect me to take their advice or not, they're just giving it because they want to give. I get into spats with my roommates all the time where my heart is at war while I'm cooking dinner. And it's just like these stupid these petty things that are, I don't know, they're so petty, but they're over the top in their confrontational nature. Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I went camping this past weekend. My buddy Rick brought his sailboat, and then my roommate Sydney and I had kayaks, and we were kayaking across to this island, and we camped there, and then we went back in the morning. Well, the plan was to go back in the morning. We wake up, and the sailboat had drifted away. Oh. It just disappeared. Like, it seriously just disappeared. No marks on the sand from where it slid. Like, it just was gone. It vanished. And so it was like this feeling. It was like that. I think the feeling that you were just describing, where it was like I was just I was deeply dissatisfied, and I just had confrontation brewing in my blood.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, how are we going to get home now? It's like, Rick and Sydney, are y'all even like trying to figure this out? Am I the only one trying to figure this out? We need to wave down a boat. It's like all these things going through my head of like, we need to freaking fix this problem right now. And, it was kind of like expecting, in that situation at least, a lot of that confrontation came from wanting us to all be on the same page and working together, but it not feeling like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, just when you said that, it's just the weirdest time sometimes. It's like that finding of like, oh, you're not on the same page as me? You don't...
Fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you.
I hate you.
Yeah, it's like fucking wake up, or something like that. And it's just like, geez.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me feel good. I know that.
No, not at all. At the same time, there are friends where you can just be like, fuck you. Mm-hmm. Fuck you. And they know that you don't mean it, Mm-hmm. Like you don't mean it in such a mean way.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like language and intention, the way they work together.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
Well, geez, man. I think as artists out here, we got like some type of responsibility to be ourselves.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, kind of like letting that I always say like creative light or like creativity shine or something, but I think it's much deeper than that. Like people who are drawn to art and to being artists, like it's like that desire for self-discovery or those questions, that curiosity that just can't quite, it's like that, it's almost that childish nature in a way. It's like, I think that's like, like doctors got the responsibility to take care of people, engineers got the responsibility to make things that are like structurally sound. Artists got that responsibility to like remain curious and like shine that light. Shine, like spread that feeling of like, I don't know how this works, or wow, that's cool, or I want to go to this place and see this.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Sometimes I think, oh wow, that's not really important, but it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's totally important. You shouldn't undersell yourself as an artist. I
think it can be easy to do sometimes. I mean, just from conversations with art students around here, at time to time, it will go to, well, yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do for work. This is, I'm getting an art degree or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It boils down to that in a lot of way. Maybe most people, it's like, what I am doing worth it, because this is the job and career that is going to lead me towards. It's not about, is it worth it? Am I happy? Is this my true personality that's getting to shine through?
Mm-hmm.
I think that has more value at the end of the day. I don't think
does.
Anybody can argue that, because there's plenty of people who go down the wrong track in life, chasing something that they were maybe raised to chase. Becoming a doctor. I gotta become a doctor. Become a doctor. I'm fucking depressed. It's like I don't like. I want to be outside working with my hands. Or, something like.
What's the point if you're like, you're not gonna do a good job.
Yeah,
or you're not gonna excel or make anyone feel better.
Mm-hmm.
If you look like you're stuck in your profession, yuck.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the hardest people to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I think it's important to remain yourself. I've had the most luck. I just feel like I've had a lot of luck, for one thing. So, but the second, I feel like I have the most luck when I decide to do things that are not, where I'm not thinking about the practicality of them. Because, I don't know, it's whenever you give that up and you show people that, you know what, there's something that matters more than this being practical and making money.
Mm-hmm.
It revives revives something in other people where they're like, oh, well, if this person feels that way, well, I'm gonna get on board with that.
Yeah.
I don't want to. But if you see all the artists out there are just thinking about, oh, how can I improve my craft to make money? It's just like everything else, and that's not inspiring. People don't want to look at something and think about money. Yuck.
Yeah.
I don't. So I've had a lot of luck where people who are already established really want to get behind me when I'm doing something that lets go of practicality completely. And I think that if any artist does that, if you keep the door open, people are going to come in. You just need to. You can't get caught up in the 9-to-5 lifestyle, because nobody wants that in the end. And I think there are a lot of people that will help you to not have it, because for whatever reason they've lost it, or they feel like they've lost it and they can't regain that freedom anymore.
Yeah.
And they care about you, so they don't want to see you in that position. I ran into that with many professors here at UNCA, and I'm starting to see it in people even outside of UNCA. It's awesome, and it's just a well that keeps on giving. Those people connect to each other, and you see it like it's concentrated in the artistic community, because that's just like the general demeanor. But it's not just in the arts community. There are a ton of benefactors outside of that. So that's what I think of when I think of the world outside of being a student.
Yeah, heck yeah. I mean, that's like that's the dream right there. Being surrounded by a bunch of people who are just wanting everybody to succeed, do exactly what makes them happy, and are thinking outside the box of the 9-to-5. There's other ways to live. There's other ways to go about, paying for getting groceries or having a car and everything. It doesn't have to be like I'm at the fucking grindstone every single day, and then I have a car accident, which I just had. I really did.
Damn.
And then I'm upset, and I'm like, oh, I got to go back and work and earn more money and all this stuff.
So that I can get back to what?
Yeah. So I can get back to not feeling upset, and then I'm is that ever the case? Like, or is that ever actually the end result, to just be like, oh yeah, I got my car fixed, or I got that person's car fixed, I'm okay now.
Yeah,
it's like, no, it's gonna be something else.
Exactly.
And then it's gonna be something else, and then it's on and on.
Brent Skidmore talks about divine dissatisfaction that happens in artists, where we're just we get to one thing and then we're dissatisfied with it, so we had to keep going. But what you're describing is not the same kind of dissatisfaction. That's like, there's no searching in that. It's not curiosity.
Just wake up and be like, oh, I don't have my favorite cereal. I'm out of milk. It's like anything. It's like, oh, what, wow. It's real. It's a very real thing. And
I understand that I'm coming from a privileged position in being able to say all this. We both are, in a way. We're sitting in here like on a college campus that we both attend, with our art major and art minor. You an art major? Oh shit! I thought you were gonna minor in it.
I'm finishing up my management degree this semester, and then I'm just gonna take another semester of art classes next semester.
Yeah.
And be
double major. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks.
It's a lot of work.
Thanks.
But yeah, I don't want people to hear me saying like, you can live the dream, and then them just get pissed off at me like, oh, stupid kid. he's in a privileged position and hasn't he hasn't hit the real world yet.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I do.
Are you?
I got two older brothers. Yeah,
two older brothers.
Yeah, they're twins.
Oh, no way. Okay. I'm the youngest, and I have two older brothers as well. I wonder how that kind of plays into our upbringing. I know for my two older brothers had it a lot harder, where like my parents were like, much more strict on them, and then I come along and my two older brothers were homeschooled all the way through high school. One of them went to college, the other one didn't. And I went to high school because they were older, and I didn't have any brother to like do school with, cause, homeschool. Right. And so I got into a bunch of trouble early on in high school, and smoked weed and all this stuff, and my parents I think kind of started to pick up. It was like he's doing all this stuff and he's getting in trouble. We were trying to keep Alexander and Chris, my older brothers, out of trouble, but Conrad's getting into trouble, and it seems like he's all right. Like I think that's the general process that they were starting to understand.
Oh, okay.
Me. And so I think they've ultimately been much more accepting of whatever the decisions that I've made. Where it's like, okay, yeah, he's gonna land on his feet. He's made mistakes in the past, but he's learned from them and he's overcome. And
it's your own way.
Yeah. So it really is my own way. And so I think before they were trying to project their perfect way onto my brothers, and with me, it's like they eased up on that.
Yep.
Would you say that is kind of the similar case, or was it the opposite for you, or what?
I would say that my brothers had. My brother Dylan like I said, they're twins. Mm-hmm. Distinct individuals. Mm-hmm. Always very close, though. They have a connection that I think a lot of humans, no matter how close you think you are, you don't have shit on Brady and Dylan. They read one another's minds. They really do. Even across huge distances, it seems. Mm-hmm. They appear like that's made fun of in like in The Simpsons, the two twin girls. Mm-hmm. They like have their own language with one another, but it's a trope, but it's kind of true. It was interesting when I was growing up. I feel like it's odd because sometimes I didn't feel like I was getting to speak for myself, because both of them were very talkative, and both of them had a lot to say, and sometimes they would just talk for me. And I became comfortable in this position where Brady and Dylan were arguing all the time, and I could be the passive person that could either slip to one side or the other side. And most of the time, it was I determined what side was winning, because I was the extra force.
Yeah.
But that's like a fairly unhealthy way to live. They pioneered a lot of things. I got to watch them. I feel fortunate in that. But I also feel a little that I was a little limited by it, being the younger brother, because of that, I got to see their mistakes, and it meant that I didn't make as many mistakes as them. Or I felt like I didn't make as many mistakes as them.
Yeah.
Dylan came out right at the beginning of high school, and we lived in a town where that was not fucking cool.
Oh, really?
At all.
Yeah.
And I don't. It's really amazing to me how brave he was, and he was always the brave brother. Like I remember growing up, I admired Dylan because he was jumping the furthest if we were playing in the woods, or there's like a particular story where Dylan climbed so high up a tree that we thought we were going to have to get the fire department. My mom talked him back down. He did climb back down. And then Brady, in the same way, even though he was a twin, he kind of had that middle child effect. And I think I hope he's comfortable with me saying this. I think that Brady struggled with wanting to be an individual apart from Dylan, apart from being a twin. He didn't want to be a twin.
Yeah.
In everyone's eyes. So at times Brady was Brady, and he did some things and made some decisions that I thought were rebellious because of that. Me, on the other hand, as the youngest, I felt like I was coddled. I felt like the favorite a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I still feel like that in a lot of situations. I feel like that.
How old are your brothers?
They're just 15 months older than me.
Oh, okay. So y'all are pretty close in age. Then.
Sometimes thought of as triplets, but I felt the age at that, like, I got frustrated at times because Brady and Dylan were maturing in ways that I wasn't yet, or getting something that I wasn't yet, or they were old. So when they got to, like, we played football in pre-middle school, and I remember my best friend was a little bit older than me, and he got to go with Brady and Dylan to play on the varsity team, and I had to stay on the JV team, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
That happened a lot. I could just talk for hours about familial situations.
Mm-hmm. I think it's definitely a different experience being the youngest, no matter how you flip it, no matter how parents treat the youngest or any of that.
Yeah.
Because, like, the youngest had, like, these more mature, like, developed siblings to, like, look at, either aspire to be or not aspire to be.
Which it sounds like in your case, you were not aspiring to be them.
Well, yeah, I don't know, that's kind of complex in a way that I don't even quite understand exactly how I do view my brothers in a lot of ways. You know, my oldest brother just got married. Uh-huh. He's like an English teacher in Germany. We do have a lot in similarity with, like, hiking and camping and outdoors stuff and all that, but we can't communicate very, like, on the same plane exactly. I feel like we can have close conversations, but we're not always like, we're rarely in, like, complete agreement or complete, understanding of each other.
That's odd.
Him being 33 probably does have something to do with it. Him, and also just, our personalities are a lot different. And then my other brother, Christoph, he was more of, like, my role model, I'd say. He was closer. He's 7 years older than me.
Okay, so Alex is like, it was Alex, right?
Yeah.
He's like way old.
Yeah. So he's out there. And then Christoph was more of, like, my role model. And then, Christoph was into acting when he was younger, and then moved out to Los Angeles and pursued acting. And I mean, I really admired a lot of his like personality, his kind of charisma, just being able to cheer people up. Mm-hmm. But I also learned a lot from his experience out in Los Angeles, because he basically from the get-go was very successful as an actor. But I got to see both sides of that, where he was very successful as an actor, but the work he was doing wasn't exactly... I don't think it was, like, fulfilling all of his desires as, like, a creative person. And, I mean, I guess that just goes back to the point. It's like you learn things from older siblings, and you follow them in some ways, and you don't follow them in other ways. Mm-hmm. And I think it's got to be overall beneficial to be the youngest. I can see more positives to being the younger of the group rather than the older.
I feel like I'm in a pretty good position, but
there's more opportunity.
Grass is always greener.
On the other side.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I wanted to be an actor for a long time too.
Did you do, like, acting in school early on? Yeah. That's where a lot of people kind of get accustomed to it.
Oh my god, I loved it. It's awesome.
I can see how you'd have the personality for it, because you're, like, I don't know, I think you're pretty, like, you're pretty, like, straightforward. You're not. I can't imagine you getting up on stage and just crumbling with, like, being nervous or something.
Sometimes, but not often. I also love. I don't know. I like the attention. I like getting to pretend to be somebody else. It's awesome. It's such a thrill.
Have you done any acting here? It's cool.
No, I haven't done any acting at UNCA.
Well, I did one show, and I didn't know what I was getting into as far as the time requirement.
Yeah.
It was like every weeknight from, I think it was like 6 till 9 or something like that. It was a huge gap of time, and I didn't know that was gonna be a part of it. I just kind of like blindly jumped into it because I was like, I want to do some acting. I just want to, I need to do this. 'Cause I did acting when I was younger and in high school, and I always enjoyed it. And I was like, oh, I should do it. But I got to say, my favorite part about doing it was just like the type of people the actors are. Yeah. It's like everybody's like celebrating who they are. Yeah. You kind of like what I'm saying. It's like it's just being weird and all that. It's just like it's his personality. It's not like.
I love it because it's almost expected.
Yeah.
To be looking weird.
Mm-hmm.
God, I love it.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, those folks are so cool. I just haven't gotten into. My first year here, I came to UNCA for drama, and then decided that visual arts was for me.
Yeah.
I'll get back.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I'll get back into acting after school, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Get involved in like a community theater thing.
Totally.
It's just that, like you said, it's such a huge time commitment.
Yeah.
Maybe worth it though.
It was worth it for me to do it. It was like a major confidence booster when I did the show, just because it was like, going out and doing the performances and doing
Which one were you
weird
in?
Stuff. It was there is 2 shows, 2 student-directed shows. It was WASP and The Actor's Nightmare.
Okay.
And
were they like one acts?
Yeah, they were. And one of them, it was about this family that WASP. It was about this family of it was really dysfunctional, but it was like the model 1950s family where
white Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
Yeah, exactly. The dad walks in. He's like, "What's for dinner?" And she's like, your favorite food. Come on, children, let's eat. Your dad is home. It's like. Were
you the dad?
No, I was the son, and it was pretty strange. There were some adaptations made to the show, and this definitely rocked me out of my comfort zone. But in one of the scenes, I'm sitting on a bed, and I'm looking at some pornography, and I'm whacking it underneath the sheet. So I'm serious. I'm freaking, masturbating on stage in front of a whole audience. And
how was that?
And strange enough, I just didn't think about it.
Yeah.
I really tried not to, but I had to do it for probably 10 seconds, and then my dad walks in, and he's like, "What are you doing, son?" And he's so oblivious to so many things, he didn't even notice what I was doing. And then I get up, and we have an awkward conversation, and then he leaves, and then I talk to my imaginary friend. Yeah. So it was quite interesting, but it was confidence building in a way. I broke some barriers that I was uncomfortable.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. It was cool.
I want to do that.
Yeah. You don't have the chance now, but you could always, like you were saying, community theater, always there.
Yeah. One of my brothers is an actor as well.
Oh, nice.
So Dylan, he's an actor.
Where does he live at?
He lives in Greenville right now. Greenville, North Carolina.
Nice. They got a big theater there, don't they? Like a big play theater?
Yeah, honestly, I haven't been keeping up with him lately for whatever reason. But, yeah, I'll have to catch back up with him and see what he's doing.
I can't remember the name of the theater, but I swear there's one
the cool thing is that Eastern Carolina gets a lot of attention from people. Their art program is killer. And so even though it doesn't seem like it's a creative town, I think that they still probably get a lot of funds and support for stuff like that. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a good theater scene there. There's nothing else to do.
Yeah, they don't have the mountains that we got. What you gonna do? Go be in a play.
Yeah, or watch one. It's like Rodgers and Hammerstein. All their productions are so fucking long because it was during a time where, we don't have a movie theater yet. it's really hot outside and I have nothing to do, I'll sit in this theater for 3 hours. Yeah, I can watch Oklahoma.
Yeah. Yeah. The theater takes like an attention span I think a lot of people, especially younger people, don't have right now. It's like, I don't know, even theater for me, like growing up and many times being forced to go see theater performances and like repetitively sometimes if like my brother was in one of the shows. Yeah. Even with that, like attention training, still it's like I can go to a theater performance and it's like my attention, I'm not stimulated in the same way as watching television. It's more about the little subtleties and nuances. Really like, it takes more work on the viewers end of things. But I think it's I think that's good. It's good for our minds.
I agree.
Because watching television is just like,
it's probably what killed David Foster Wallace.
Wait, who's that?
He's a philosopher and writer. I'm reading a novel of his called Infinite Jest right now. It's kind of it's his masterwork. Anyway, there's one of the guys from How I Met Your Mother portrayed him in a movie. It's a biography about David Foster Wallace, but he was depressed, ended up committing suicide. But brilliant writer, very funny, amazing vocabulary, and really breaking the chains when it came to like his what's the word? His cadence, the way he writes. He puts the word like in pretty often. The same way that people our age talk at times, and it's just odd the way he includes it. But he confessed to having an addiction to TV.
No way.
Yeah, he was like, and he taught you get it from time to time in his books. Like he'll talk about these weird, amazing TV contraptions that his characters have, and I think it's just something thinking for you. And the tragedy is that we all have a little TV in our pocket now, except we can change the channel a lot faster.
Yeah.
I like download Instagram and delete Instagram so frequently. It's pretty bad.
Hey, I mean, if that's what you got to do to like be able to step away from that, man. Like right now, I think I still have Instagram and like Snapchat, maybe YouTube in a folder that says like boredom, just to remind myself it's like only do this when you're truly bored. Yeah. Not when you just need like a little like pick me up of entertainment. Right. Because it's a straight up drug, man, and it was sometimes it hits me right in the way that I'm like, okay, yeah, that was really interesting. I just watched like an educational video or a podcast or something, and then other times it's like, damn, I'm really jealous now that I'm not going and doing something as cool as what I just saw on Instagram or whatever, like it is either one of those two reactions I have. And like waking up in the morning, do you ever like wake up in the morning and look at your phone? No. Yes. Oh hell yeah. Okay. But that sometimes that will really send me on a great note. Is it will wake me up because I'm stimulated from like watching a funny video or something.
And a cup of coffee.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And then other times it'll be like, I don't know, just send me off on kind of like a more like melancholy, depressed note.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I always hear like it's not good to start your day with social media. Social media is just such a fucking weird phenomenon. And I think that people can talk about their real life problems. Sometimes, I'll speak from I'll own this idea. Sometimes I want to think of social media as a sub-problem or a privileged person problem, whereas you have things like poverty. That's also a problem, obviously. But it's such a widespread phenomenon. and in everyone's lives,
Mm-hmm.
and something I don't think anyone really could have predicted.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important for us to give it attention, and not attention like looking at it all the time.
Yeah, like
Talk about it, figure out, and this goes for the internet too, how we can change it, how we can form it to help us and not enslave is the wrong word, but
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Make us dependent.
Yeah.
It kills me.
They gotta start teaching kids in like elementary school how to use social media.
Yeah.
At least it just be like, oh, this is a great way if you have an interest. You like biking, you know. This is social media can be a fun way to find people in your area that also like biking.
Yeah.
And then but like zoning out when you're unhappy or you don't want to do anything or any of this, and you're looking at social media. That's where young people should be told that's a sign that you're not in a good mental space, basically.
Right. And you're not helping it.
Yeah, and you're not helping it, and like everybody should be able to at least notice, at the very minimum, should be able to notice when we're in a group of people and everybody has their phones out, and it's like we're there, but we're not actually there,
Or even I hiked Catawba Falls the other day on Labor Day, and people do things to take pictures.
Yeah.
It seems.
Yeah.
I'm guilty too. I take pictures where I go, not too often, because other people are taking pictures for me, and then they send them to me, and it's like, oh, great, I'm in the picture too.
Yeah, that's a bonus.
But yeah,
yeah,
because social media is
crazy?
it's not going away. People say, oh, well, what we need to do is get rid of it.
Yeah.
Unrealistic.
Hey,
Not gonna happen.
That was where I was at that one point. Like, I mean, when I used to go through and delete Instagram and social media all the time as well, or log out or something. It was like give myself a trip line to make it harder for me to get on social media, because I was like, I just want it to be away. But yeah, that's what I've realized, though, is what you just said. It's not gonna go away.
So you got to
It's
do
there.
something else.
Mm-hmm.
You got to improve it, or use it in a good way. It's like any negative situation.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just think about how nice it would be if it weren't there, or how it used to be when it wasn't around.
Mm-hmm.
You have to either work to eliminate it, or usually work alongside it and change it in a positive way, because it's not leaving entirely, like global climate change or overpopulation, that sort of thing. They're not they are cataclysmic in some ways, but they shouldn't be thought of as unhelpable.
Mm-hmm.
China has an app that's like hyper Facebook, and you can set up medical appointments on it. You bank through it. You can buy your groceries through it.
Wow.
It's like Facebook meets Amazon meets every like most people in America use on an average 5 to 7 apps.
Mm-hmm.
This app in China merges them all together. And you know what the difference? This is what Facebook wants to be. And the reason why Facebook is... Maybe Facebook doesn't own the world yet because they haven't infiltrated China. But the difference is... Can you guess the difference between Facebook and this app?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Government control.
Oh, yeah.
China's government has complete access to the app and to everyone on the app.
Mm-hmm. That's
which is weird.
Access to everybody's buying habits, probably location services,
everything.
It's all there.
And that scares a lot of people. I don't know if you know Ash. You know Ash, right?
From here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, talk about an artist who was thinking about progressive issues. I really enjoy talking to Ash. It's a pleasure every time we meet. And also someone who's unafraid of making an artwork that doesn't look like an artwork. a lot of folks, I think in North Carolina especially, where it's a craft-driven art environment, are super scared of that. You go up north, it's the opposite. It's like, what are you doing spending time on craftsmanship? Hire out. But yeah, so that's something I really admired about her a lot. She wasn't afraid to dig in to problems and research and read page after page of thing that she could be a skim reader for these government documents, requested documents from the government, goes into sites, learns how she can navigate the internet in from an anarchist's point of view. I'm not trying to out Ash I don't know how public this, I don't know the scale of this podcast, but yeah, she's a really awesome person. And I wish, and I think that about you as well, Conrad, that you are unafraid to do things that are a little different or don't. I don't know. I remember when Rome was here. Did you know Rome? Mm-hmm. I was like, man, this guy Conrad is a sculptor who is doing something different. Mm-hmm. At least as far as UNCA goes, because I don't know, a lot of people would look at it and not get it, or a lot of people would look at it and be skeptical to call it art, and that's admirable, in my opinion. Yeah. So I really like that about you.
Yeah, thanks.
It's what I'm into.
I'm sure you can kind of understand where I'm coming from, but when I say this, it's like it's really hard for me to even describe anything that I do artistic wise. It's just it just feels right. It's just interesting. It just is a drive, And it's like standing from the outside, I can probably have a much more firm opinion of what you make and what you do than you do yourself.
Yeah,
I would think so. I think I'm sure that's how it would work with me. Mm-hmm. Because it's Jeb works with these materials. He uses these shapes. These are things that inspire him. It's so point blank from the outside, but then on the inside, it's think about all the artists in this building right now that are just making something just because that's what they're interested in. That's what they think is cool. That's what they're important. That's what they're trying. Yeah, it's important, and I just think that's really fascinating and really awesome. Mm-hmm. That that's just how much from the heart it's coming. It's every person in sculpture 3 and 4 right now has their own niche.
Yeah.
Brent is down there working with sculpting and drilling, plaster and all that,
and networking too. Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean Brent?
Oh yeah, Brent.
Yeah, the sculpture student.
Mm-hmm. Brent Skidmore's on top of the world, but yeah. So Brent's down
cool.
There. Yeah, he's friggin' doing that, and then
Alex.
And Alex is working with drip, she drip and color and all this. She already knows she knows way more about just color and what's popular and all that than I do. I'll ask her about that kind of stuff. She's on that. Yeah. And then there's everybody's got Sebastian makes huge metal sculptures, and they've got this kind of gory fantasy world type feeling about it. It's everybody has their own niche. Yeah. And it's it's so cool how that just happens.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
Yeah,
really awesome.
Alex just did what she said was her biggest pour ever to date last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was in the studio and she was like, I've got a lot of Vaseline. I'm about to do my biggest pour.
It's not what you think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's she man, talk about somebody who carved out their niche.
Yeah,
and is just been going with it. She was saying the other day she's started selling some of her pieces. Oh, one of the pieces in Highsmith that she put in there, it won the art show and then the school bought it from her.
Fuck.
It's it's really crazy how it's she found something that I think she's just really interested in and enjoys, and then that's just it's now with that confirmation that other people are liking everything,
she's gonna keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's what I'm saying.
Have you sold any pieces to the school?
No, I haven't sold any pieces to the school. I've sold like 3 pieces in my life.
Yeah. Well, where were those pieces?
There was like I made these little tower things. They were like really delicate seeming, kind of look like termite nest things in a way. Mm-hmm. And I sold 2 of those. And then another thing was like I made an abacus out of steel and walnut and welded it together. And it was like this, so it was like the walnut was dark, the steel was dark, and I sold that. I gave it to like a charity. And then I also, at Haystack this summer, I contributed to a larger sculpture. It was a totem, and we all made a part of it, mm-hmm. and that was sold at the auction.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't know. You're talking about somebody who makes things that are hard to sell. That's me.
Yeah.
I make like big, weird shit that takes a lot of time to set up.
Mm-hmm. You're just on like I think you're on a different road than other people who, on the other end of what you're making, like you could go and turn bowls, like wooden bowls. You know, it's like what is more like sellable than a bowl? Yeah, because it's like everybody needs a bowl. Yeah, at least one bowl. But it's like I think the road you're going down is like there's this process of like you get a name, you get recognition. There's a certain amount of a value that's assigned to what you do. Right. And then you move on from there. It's not like you're just like a craftsman in the way that you're just like you're not making like things for utility so much as you're like for more of like creative expression and like ideas and right.
It's always been that way. I just can't do it. I just can't pump out or I don't have any interest in pumping out nicely crafted bowls mm-hmm. or whatever. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care if people say it's the safer option. I don't care if people want to criticize me for or think that I'm being irresponsible for not wanting to do that. Well, mm-hmm. it's your major. You should figure out how to market it.
Start making little like trinkets for Asheville. Say Asheville on them. Yeah, people can come and buy them when they come visit Asheville. It's like why? Oh, that is just not what it's about. Unless that's like you just happen to like making keychains.
Yeah, and whatever some people do. Mm-hmm.
Tony had some interesting say like electrician.
Yeah.
Tony. He said he just started. He made this table. And he's selling it to somebody. Like somebody has already bought it, and he's still finishing it up. But like he's gonna sell it. And he was like, I started with ceramics like here at school, and like I made some cool stuff, and people would come by and be like, oh, that's cool, Tony. And then he started, I think he started working with metal, maybe. Yeah. And people would come by and they'd be like, oh wow, Tony, that looks really cool. And then he started making furniture. And people would come by and be like, "Yo, let me buy that." Yeah, I just thought that's how he described it, and so like, maybe like for him, maybe that's what it really is like what he's interested in a lot. Sure, he could just have a wide spectrum of stuff he's interested in, but like having how people have responded to his work kind of influenced him and drove him in a certain direction. Right. I don't know, I feel the same way about the stuff I make. Mm-hmm. Like it's just like in a way I really do like it's not all about myself in the way that it's like I want people to be interested in it, but it is about myself because if they're interested in it, then it comes back on me. Yeah. but yeah.
It's and Tony. Yeah, you're right. Tony is the man. I love Tony. Mm-hmm. I have awesome conversations every time I'm with him, but. I think he knows what's good for him, and he knows what's good for other people too. Because I've never had that conversation with Tony where he's asking me, "So how are you gonna sell this? Mm-hmm. How are you gonna market this?" I think it's an important conversation to have. Maybe I just need to. I don't know. I'm gonna get. See, it fucking pulls me down.
Yeah,
and some people would say
fuck that.
well, that's because life is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, but screw, like seriously, we have to understand, like, screw that though.
Yeah.
Because that's not the healthy way to go. Like, that's not the beneficial way to go.
No.
To be like, I'm gonna change everything I do just so that I can
make a few
live
bucks
by these standards. Yeah, like make a few bucks. Like, yeah, it's just fuck that. Yeah. It's hard though. It's constantly pushed into us, you know.
Yeah.
I asked Jackson at the beginning of the semester. I was just like, I've always been curious about this, but I was like, and this is the third class I've had with him. I'm like, Jackson, how many students in here do you think are gonna become like full-time working artists? And he didn't answer that question like clearly, but he was like, yeah, I understand that like a lot of students in here are going to go on different routes, and you know they're going to do different things other than art.
Mm-hmm.
And he said like what's really important to him is, as far as teaching the group of students goes, is that people are engaged, they're trying, they're learning, they're you know, he just kind of like went down the list and just like said like, you know, what people are getting out of the being an art student. And yeah, I just think it's just interesting. It's just the environment that we're in right now. You know, as far as there's so many things can just be manufactured super quickly, super efficiently, super cheap. You know, like whatever wooden bowls. You know, it's like those can just so be easily put into a mold and made out of glass. You know, it's. So I think that's just a changing environment for people who make things on not like an industrial level. Like,
right.
You know, I keep coming back to bowls, but bowls are taken care of for the most part. Maybe somebody wants a nice wooden bowl, but it's like where are interests going now? You know, is it about finding that chair design that really is comfortable on people's backs because they sit all day and need something to help them
sit healthfully.
Sit healthfully instead of, you know, like I'm doing right now and what I've done every day through school.
Yes.
It's just like, you know, sit in this really uncomfortable chair and just be like.
Are you like competing with yourself? Are you like contesting with yourself every day? I do that where I'm like, slide down. Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
And I start.
Exactly.
It's like.
Exactly.
It's like fighting
for the past 8 years. Ever since I went to high school, it's been sitting in these chairs with this damn fucking hard back and my spiny, bony back, just sitting there, and I'm like,
there's gotta be a better way.
There's gotta be hammocks.
I went to
place chairs with hammocks.
I went to Asheville Community Yoga the other day.
Oh yeah.
And did a warm vinyasa flow at night. Mm-hmm. Holy shit!
I feel good.
Transformative.
How do you feel walking out of there?
I felt like it was hard. For one, I dripped out so many impurities. Oh my god, I was sweating like a pig. Mm-hmm. But my posture was better. My back felt a lot stronger. Mm-hmm. This flow had a lot of twists. We did a lot of, we went from warrior pose to whatever the other one they called it was. But it's basically like having your arms out like so, and with a twist and a high lunge. Did a lot of triangle pose where you're just holding with the muscles in between your shoulder blades a lot. And I have a lot of problems with my back. I'm sure a lot of artists do because we're hunching.
Always bending over, being taller too.
Yeah,
you know, it's like there's like this is, you know, a low table. I have to like bend way over. Yeah.
We got it tough.
It's fucking hard, man. Everybody looking up to us and shit.
Literally.
There really is something about that though, like I don't like. I think that tall people are like, it's just like how like when a short person looks up to a tall person, it's like it's not. I think it's some like parental brain chemistry going on in there.
Maybe
like,
so.
Seriously, like it's like looking up at somebody is saying like that person is somehow above you.
Yeah.
maybe stronger, older. You know, it's like there's really something there.
Right.
Yeah.
What a mistake.
What a freaking mistake. We should all be the same height.
Have you ever?
And the world would be at peace. All inequality could exist.
If we were just the same height.
We were all the same height.
Well, we can't do anything about it. Those people, they gotta get taller.
Mm-hmm. Extensions.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that because I saw a picture online one time of a same height themed party, and they're like these different. Basically, there were stilts where you could add blocks to like so that everyone could achieve the same height as the tallest person in the room. So you had like a line of people putting on different size stilts. I thought that was awesome.
That's hilarious.
It's like it could be since you're interested in that.
Maybe that's it. That's how to solve inequality. It's not skin color. It's not location.
Yep, I think there's definitely physical. We can't escape our physical being. There's always like body language speaks. There's a reason that body language is more effective than verbal language at times. I don't know. People talk about being able to move past our physical differences, and I think that of course it's possible, but I don't think we should try to become non-physical beings and ignore those things like you were saying where there's a parental association with somebody who's taller or shorter. But, I mean,
it's really interesting how it's like subconscious. You know, see somebody and they maybe are very closed off. They've got their arms crossed, shoulders, and maybe head down. It's like that's a sign. You know, it's as well as maybe somebody's walking around with their arms, super out, and on the hips, or they're just walking around taking up a lot of space.
Right.
You know, that says something differently. We're never taught this stuff. You know, we're never told like.
Well, we're
somebody who's closed off. Yeah, it's just like you talk to somebody who looks like this, and then you realize like, okay, they're very much needing their own space. They're not talking. They're by themselves.
Not looking me in the eye.
Yeah, not looking in the eye. And then there's this person out here that's like, they're overly masculine, overly confident. You know. Yeah, that body language definitely speaks volumes. We can keep talking or go for as long as you feel, but
what time?
We've been going for about like an hour and 10 minutes.
Okay, so it's 10,
it's
11?
11:19.
Okay.
So I think we started around 10:10.
Yeah. I'd be happy to come back on, but I think an hour is a healthy spell to sit.
Yeah, man, this was awesome.
Thanks.
Like, thank you so much for coming in, and hope you had a good time.
I did. I had a great time.
Cool. All right. Peace.
Thanks.